This became my solution anytime my rogue got into combat. Goblins? Kick him in the dire wolves? Smack him in the sack. Woman? Put him in the Hey everybody, SkyDieRay here. Welcome to another DnD memes, DnDGreentext actually, video. Apparently the DnD YouTuber with the nicest voice. How are you guys doing? Having a wonderful day today. Before jumping into the video, I want to quickly kindly ask you if you want to take a second to smash the like button. It helps out and I appreciate it a lot, so thanks so much for that. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. All hail. Refuse to differentiate between important and unimportant information in your scene descriptions. Looking around the ruined street, you see a few burnt out houses, various bits of rubble, 4,000 demons pointing swords at you, a pile of knocked over street signs, and a stray cat. All players immediately. I pet the cat! The 4,000 demons immediately lower their blades as you have successfully shown proper tribute to She Who Walks the Shadows, the Bitter Talon, the Dark Queen of Pit, Mrs. Flufferbutt. I don't know why, but that really sounds like it could happen. I'm not sure about the last part, maybe, but the player's reaction was absolutely on point. I have just one small favor. Be me, evil DM. Be friend who wants to play D&D, but only as an NPC. Come up with fun one-shot together and let the party know. Session comes with players not quite sure what to expect. Party is comprised of Yanti Rogue, YR, Olin Ranger, OR, Elf Druid, ED, and Dragonborn Pally, DP, with NPC friend being a whacking gnoll, WG, with the gnoll and ranger being long-term friends outside of the game, which will come up later. Party comes off the heels of a half-botched quest for an cobbled wizard. Says he's got another job if they are interested. Some already want to get out of town, but why not that JPEG? Something keeps at night around my house, but I can't seem to figure out what it wants. Classic stakeout music plays, while the party finds out that it's the gnoll. After many roundabout conversations, they figure out that he wants magical booksies made by small scales wizard, quote unquote. He agrees to make a book but asks for one small favor. Ranger is having PTSD to RuneScape quest that we based this on. Essentially, one small quest turns into a super long fetch quest. Start with the wizard, where he asks for out-of-season pastry from the baker. Party goes to the baker, who's too busy fulfilling orders and deliveries, but can make time if the party gets the carpenter to fix her cart. Paladin and Druid are beginning to feel the effects of frustration. Party goes to the carpenter, who asks them to get his tools that he loaned out to the blacksmith. Druid is about to burn the town down, and the paladin is gonna start crying. Find the blacksmith putting up missing posters for his kid. "Oh god, no, please," says the paladin. Blacksmith: "I know, it's just terrible." Agreed to help find his kid, who went to laying down crab and shrimp traps. Ranger out of character: "Okay guys, it was really funny at first, but I'm about to start having flashbacks to 2003. Find him passed out on the riverbanks. They heal him and pick him up to carry back to town. Unfortunately, the party is assaulted by giant crabs and shrimps. Crabrave.mp3. Never seen a party use all their features and high-level spell slots in the first fight of the day this fast. Pent-up aggression has been relieved. Make it back to town to see the wizard and gnoll. He gives the book and grabs something extra for the party. 101 ways to prepare crab. Party leaves the town before sunset. None of them care, they just want to get out of there. One small favor complete. I guess this one was based on RuneScape, as the OP of the post said, but this is something that's been used in a lot of things, right? I don't know if the RuneScape one was the original, or you know, which one was the first. Actually, I guess I've mostly seen this in movies and shows. The Rogue. What was the first character that you ever made for a game? Be me, 16 at the time. Just learned about tabletop and eventually find a group to play with. Join the campaign that's already been going for a little while. Make a rogue. Pretty standard background. Thief with a heart of gold type of chaotic good. Orphan and donates what he doesn't need to his old orphanage, etc. Always imagined that he spoke in a Cockney accent. First session. Join the party in raiding a gang of orc bandits. I try to play smart, using stealth to scout things out, poison bandits' drinks, and trigger traps while the enemies are in them. Eventually get caught. The first combat begins as the party comes in to save my ass. No clue what I'm doing since I'm new. Someone explains my abilities to me, including sneak attack. I try to visualize how I'm doing extra damage to enemies. I take my dagger and I stab him in the Some chuckle as I roll, and full laughter as I roll a crit. Being a dumb kid, I think that's the funniest and decide that this is just gonna be my character's thing anytime he sneak attacks. Still try to play smart out of combat, use poison and stealth and all that, but as soon as combat starts, I become a stabbing menace. Even got a pair of boots from a loot pile that could extend the blade from the toe, which I used exclusively for kicking. This became my solution anytime my rogue got into combat. Goblins, kick him in the direwolves, smack him in the sack. Woman, put him in the One day, the GM introduces a treant as an enemy, and I realize that I can't just stab them in the because they're a tree. The wizard player gets a look on his face and remembers that he has a polymorph scroll. He turns the treant into a giant humanoid, and I stabbed Treebeard in his newly grown nutsack. Game was relatively short-lived, but I was hooked on the hobby by that point. I made a paladin in my next game and took it a little more seriously, since going below the belt didn't make as much sense for a holy knight. Villain gets a mic drop. I don't think that's how mic is... okay, anyway. Had a great villain re-reveal in my game. NPC was part of the soul of a recently revealed bad guy, which wasn't a big deal because the players had not interacted with him, stuck inside the book. NPC has a binding on him that means he cannot lie, and the binding carried over into the part in the book. Villain claimed he didn't expect to still be in the book and his body left him behind when he fled. Okay. Big Bad is gonna be referred to as the Shadow Man. The players get the book, which you can talk and hear, to confirm I am not working for the Shadow Man and I will not change my allegiance to the Shadow Man. So they bring him with them since he can help defeat the Shadow Man, having most of his knowledge, including that the Shadow Man prefers to be called the Master, though he had to tell them multiple times that his memory is incomplete. They were even able to get him a new body with a magic forge that can create small golems. They gathered some rare materials so he could have a magically infused body to have access to his magic. The truth binding stayed with him again. They knew this because part of the binding is that people know about the binding. He wanted to keep his presence secret since he refused to change his name and too many people would relate him to the bad guy. They kept telling people about him and eventually revealed him to a powerful NPC that convinced them to question him more carefully. He gets a bit nervous and shy during the questioning, walking around in a circle and shuffling his feet. They get to the direct question of, will you help us stop the Shadow Man? There is just one problem, he says. He stops his shuffling, stands up straight, and looks at them as though he's looking down at them despite his new body being only 2 feet tall. With all nervousness gone from his voice, he says, I don't want to be stopped, as he activates the temporary teleportation circle that he had been etching into the ground, vanishing. So now, the big bad evil guy has 2 bodies, with one highly tuned to be more powerful with magic, and he was already a strong mage. I intended to do that all along. DM wants NPC to leave and pass on important information. Players fail to intimidate and get the information. Unhinged players. Let's just kill him! And attack and miss by 1 point. DM really not wanting to turn it into combat because the NPC would get obliterated in less than 1 round. After your sword misses his throat by millimeters, he becomes terrified. You can roll for intimidation with double advantage. Unhinged players roll. The dices. Lol, 1, 5 and 7. DM. It's enough. No, it wasn't. But he is intimidated and ready to talk. Yeah, I don't know. That could have gone way worse. It's fun when you let the game in the hands of the dice. Could have also just said that the NPC gives up instead of having them roll again, but yeah, this is one way to go about it too. Mur, or it's probably a bullfrog. Be party, 6th level, 12ish adventurers. Be exploring a ruined fortress in the desert. Find cavernous underground room filled with ankle-deep water. Party has light sources, but the room is big, so the party only sees so far into the darkness. DM passes a note to the rogue. Rogue, hey guys, you hear that? Wizard, hear what? It sounded like Mur. Mur? DM rolls perception behind the screen and reports that the rogue hears it again. There it is again! I don't hear anything. Fighter. I hear it. DM clarifies that the fighter didn't hear anything. Out of character, the fighter says, I know, I'm just screwing with the rogue. I should clarify at this point that the rogue has a reputation for being paranoid and high-strung in character. Player sneaker. Wizard asks if he knows any creature that might make a murr sound. DM has him roll for it. Gets a middling result. DM says there are a lot of creatures that it could be. Giant lizard, cockatrice, blue dragon, kobold with a weird accent, etc. But given the water in the room, it's probably a common bullfrog with a CR of 0. You know, rogue, it might be dangerous. You should scout out the room. Cue a series of stealth rolls as the rogue explores the giant chamber. Rogue has to roll a disadvantage because keeping silent while moving through water is hard. Fails frequently and the party hears him splashing around. Party stays close to the door. Wizard shares what he knows with the rest of the party and they have a quiet laugh at the rogue's expense. DM. Suddenly, everybody hears it. Murr. Did you guys hear that? Asks the fighter. Murr? This is the DM again. Party is suddenly very nervous. Murr Krakow, screams the DM. Players are startled and the DM screamed really loud. Everyone make reflex saves. Roll with disadvantage since it's a lightning attack and you're standing in water. That was when there was an actual adult blue dragon in that room. This DM. Half the party fails their saves and almost dies. Those that succeed are still pretty banged up. Dragon jumps into view and roars. Initiative is rolled. Party gets some good hits in, but they're obviously outclassed. Wizard casts darkness on a small rock and throws it at the dragon, blinding him temporarily. Party nopes right the out. Party flees the fortress and heads back to civilization. Pissed off adult blue dragon chases them for half the journey before giving up. Fast forward several months IRL. Be at PAX. Find a vendor selling really awesome looking t-shirts with blue dragon on front. Buy shirt and get the vendor to write Murr by the dragon's face in silver paint. Give it to DM as a Christmas present. DM loves it and it becomes his default shirt for gaming gatherings. I love this community. Hot fire. Be me. Forever DM. Be not me. Players. Story from a while ago. First session of the campaign. Party awakens in a dark dungeon in the Underdark full of zombies. Custom zombos. Deal 1 damage but con save or take 1d2 points of damage directly to constitution. Idea was that over time a big horde would form as the players progress. They then make a timely escape out of the dungeon with the horde at their back, shut the doors and then see a small town of surface dwellers and the plot begins. Yada yada. At first it was going great. Players laugh at 1 point of damage. Players are terrified when they get the con damage. Eventually, get to a room where there are only 2 doors, the one they came from with the horde following and the door to the next room. Players come up with an idea. Paladin goes to the door entrance and casts Shield of Faith and dodges. Wizard casts Bonfire directly in front. My face when I cannot hit the Paladin. My face when the Bonfire ticks each turn. Players start slowly ticking away at the horde. I'm horrified. Based on the scenario that I wrote, I have 0 counter to this. Players see that I'm defeated and start laughing and openly mocking me. Horde is turned to ashes. Players triumphantly leave the dungeon and head into town. Later, get informed that the quote-unquote zombies are not undead, but basically infected individuals. Town is actively working on a cure. The primary mission of the campaign was to get a sample from a certain zombie so the cure could be made. Players realize they could have saved the entirety of the horde, but Bonfire. I grin. Everyone is horrified except the wizard. To this day, he calls it one of his best plays in D&D, quote unquote. Jesus Christ. Also, there is a comment from the guy that I guess he was the wizard here. That's amazing. No, that was definitely his probably his best play in D&D. Yeah, I can understand this. Alright, on that note, that's gonna be it for today's video. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like if you did and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Also, thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon as well as on YouTube. I appreciate it a lot, so thanks so much for those. Links below if you want to check them out, as well as links to the subreddit, Discord, any social media and anything else. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.